I say we're being clean. I never caught nothing from none of them, so I can't agree and say they're carriers. I never caught anything. So luckily, I'm grateful. My immune system is good. They all right, and I'm good. So, so men specifically, especially, there are more of them than we think. Some are afraid, which I can understand because of the society standards. They're in denial to speak their truths regarding their sexual orientation. They can be considered as selfish, like I said. Women as well, they carry the trait where they won't tell their male mate or female mate that they're bi for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. So they don't tell their truths regarding their sexual orientation. Unfortunately, black men they are at an all-time high for being on the down low. I believe it's because they're already seen as so many things, but they're afraid of the consequences from friends, family, society, the females that they date and attract. They feel like they may be judged by them, which is unfortunate. You know what I mean? Because in this world today, as one of my really good friends today, one of my really good friends gave me her input about it, and she just said that, like, we all know that not one person, when you're in a relationship, you don't own the person. Let's just say that. And especially nowadays, we're realizing that in a lot of situations, one person can't handle all your needs. So we're kind of at a point where it's like an open relationship society. And it'd be okay that way, as long as, like I said, even I almost got convinced to be into the poly life, polyamorous, where you date who you date. But the thing is, people lie, people aren't honest, people like to hide things, and that's what creates the problem. So at this point in my life, because I understand that everybody has different needs at different times, different people, whatever. Not one person can satisfy another person. Like, we all have different needs. Tomorrow we're gonna wake up and be somebody else, and gonna feel like we need something different. We grow every single day, every 24 hours or somewhere different. And this week, next week, you'll be something different. You'll be somewhere different, and you're trying to figure out who you are. But you need to find somebody that satisfies those needs. So, I think mostly for those who don't talk about it or communicate it, they struggle with self-identity first and foremost. They may not know how to love themselves. They may have had some situation happen to them when they were younger that you can't really judge anybody for. However, communication is the essence of a relationship. Like, you have to be as honest as you can with the other person. I know of stories where males that were married to women, and they were together with them for 15, 14, 10 years, and they never told the wife what was going on, or when they did, this shows like Snap for a reason, because some people aren't. Hold on, let me. Shouts to Duncan. Anyway, some people are not bold enough to speak their truths. People have situations where they can't, which I understand that, but we have to find some type of way to get that out there. Because the next fact that is known is that most men that are in the closet, there is a high AIDS count for those who are bisexual and in the closet, because, like, say for example, that someone is married and they do have a side thing with someone of the same sex, and they don't use protection with their wife because that's what they're known for, and they don't use protection with their side thing, and then we got a whole problem. It doesn't have to necessarily be AIDS, because that's heavy, but it's the truth. So disease spreading, not taking it serious because you're in. It's a psychological thing. You're so much in the closet, you don't even understand. You don't even realize what you're doing and the effects that you have on other people, and that's how it gets to the selfish aspect. So. I even say that with both sexes. Excuse me. I hope you can hear me okay. For both sexes, you know what I mean? Even many women, like I said, back to the relationships, many women are taken advantage of and then blamed if something goes wrong in a relationship, when in all honesty, the male is confused regarding where and who they want to be with. And, most women, we do our part as being faithful. Everybody got their own thing going on. I can't speak for everybody, but, most women, especially when they're married, they're in a relationship, if they are about their family, then they're about their family, and that's it. They may have a lot of offers. People like to. It's that something about that ring, that thing. People be like, damn, she fly, he fly. I'm trying to see what's up, what's going on, But with that being said, we got to be a little bit more careful on who we pick and what we do and how we do it. And if we're going to do it, just be honest and communicate that. It is what it is. And that's what I say. And I always bring up the hazards of the truths in relationships. We got to talk about that one day. So there is the aspect of a man being who they are, hiding from themselves, not being able to say who they are because society is the way it is. And I know I'm who I am. And I know they're like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about. She's not even a man. And she tries to be a man. No. So here's my thing, and we're going to talk about it, because this is one of them shows where we just going to talk it out. I do not want to be a man. I may sometimes want some things that a man has, you know what I mean? But as far as me turning into a man, you want to be a transsexual and all that, okay, no, that's not where I'm at. Like, I am comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable with my, as I'm getting into that in 1 second, my sacred feminine and divine masculine, my yin yang. We both have that energy that we have to embrace. And I'm not saying you got to be girly, guys. I'm not saying any of that. You know what I mean? But you just got to really be able to understand who you are. We only got one life to live. So you have to be able to, or try to be able to understand who you are and how and why you do it. Like I said, the whys and your whats, why you make these decisions, and how can you be able to explain this to your partner no matter what the situation is. You know what I mean? So we need... And this, we need men to be men about their truths as well, not just showing up for our protection or acting tough when needed. So, we got the macho man, the macho act. People they like to be all tough, whatever, but behind closed doors, it's behind closed doors. So we're just going to say that. So like I said, we all have both the sacred feminine, divine masculine energy that we must embrace. We have to understand that there's a little bit of masculinity and a little feminine in us. Like females, we run it all. We can do it. Who run the world? Girls. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be able, we put it together. We may have to psychologically have some challenges where we are a little bit stronger than males when it comes to certain things. They got the physical aspect, but we all know this is nothing new. You know what I mean? But together, as a unit, of course we can run the world. You dig? As long as we do it right. But back to, the wives, it's most important, the wives. It's like really marriage related, but there are, of course, relationships that may be on the way to newlyweds, about to be there, on the way, whatever, and we don't really know who our partners are. You understand what I'm saying? So this is all in the book, and just me adding my insight on how I feel. And of course, I'm always open to objections, opinions. Let me know when I'm wrong. Let me know when I'm overstepping boundaries. But I'm just saying how I feel. And like I said, on the How What You Say shows, what we say is what we mean. There's no in between. So with that being said, the wives that are unknowingly involved with the men that are not getting what they deserve, which is honesty, truth, and communication. And they have the choice if they want to stay or go, especially if they have children. It's mandatory, I think. You know what I mean? But again, I can't tell anyone how to live their lives. I don't know who they're with. But this is just my opinion on how I feel and how things need to be handled. If you're a man about everything else, you have to be a man and communicate what's going on with you, especially when it comes to the bang, bang, bang. You understand what I'm saying? Because what happens if something happens to your wife? And would you like her to do the same thing to you? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about communication on both ends. You know, maybe she might like the same sex too. But if she tell you and you like, oh yeah, I'm trying to hop in, you know, but you got your things going on in the closet, I don't know. Are we weighing the scales correctly? Are we weighing the scales? I know it's Aries season, so that's why probably why I'm going there. Shouts to the Aries out there doing the damn thing. I know y'all out here getting on everybody's nerve and, and getting your point across. Excuse me. My best friend is an Aries, so shouts to you. Her birthday just passed. Got more Aries, I'm sure, out there. I love y'all, showing y'all love. Y'all are good people. Y'all be crazy, but y'all all right. I rocks with it. Give me a second while. Yeah, again, shout out to Duncan's for this refresher, bomb.com. Get with it and get lost. Woo. So yeah, like I said, the vast majority of the women in these relationships are completely faithful and are being deceived without even knowing it, which is really, we gotta play the game. We gotta be fair. We have to be fair. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's, you know, it's just a lot. You gotta be, communicative. You have to be open. You have to be honest. You have to know the rewards of telling the truth, the consequences of lying, not being accountable, all that good stuff. But we're going to go on commercial break. I got to just get all that together. That was a lot to say. And I know it's going to be starting some things, maybe some debates, but it is what it is. I got to speak my truth. That's what we do on the How Much You Say show. You did?